Number 7, citizens of Monaco casino ban. Imagine living in the global capital of luxury and gambling, a city essentially built on the profits of its world famous casinos, and not being allowed to step inside. That's the rule for citizens of Monaco. The law states that Monegasque citizens are prohibited from gambling anywhere within the principality. Why would a country famous for its high stakes gambling ban its own people? The rule dates back to the mid 19th century when Monaco was facing a difficult economic situation. The authorities decided to facilitate the entry of the gambling industry specifically to attract wealthy foreign tourists and their cash. It was never meant to be a local pastime. The government's logic was genius. They wanted to create a golden goose, a magnet for international wealth, without the risk of addiction or financial ruin on their citizens. This law is an extreme act of economic self preservation. By keeping their citizens safe from losing their money at the tables, the state preserves their wealth and keeps the tax base stable and productive. It's a classic case of insulating the local population from the ruinous downside of their own most successful industry. Number 6, Japan's overweight prevention law. Imagine a government that legally requires you to measure your waistline every year, and if you're too big, you might be required to attend counseling sessions. Welcome to Japan, which passed the controversial Metabo law to combat the health risks associated with metabolic syndrome. Under this law, men and women between the ages of 40 and 74 must have their waistlines measured annually. If you exceed the set limits of 33.5 inches for men or 35.4 inches for women, you will be referred to counseling and lifestyle guidance. This sounds incredibly invasive, but the law isn't about shaming. It's about national public health and economic stability. Now, it makes so much sense why Japan has one of the oldest populations in the world. They know that a healthier populace means drastically fewer healthcare costs and a more robust, longer lasting workforce. This law is a massive, proactive, decades long intervention designed to prevent a future healthcare crisis from bankrupting the state. It legislates prevention, making individual health a matter of collective responsibility. It's the government saying, we are willing to measure your waist today to ensure our country is standing strong tomorrow. Number 5, running out of gas rule. In Germany, running out of gas on the highway is considered illegal and you can get your license suspended for up to 6 months. This rule exists because Germany's Autobahn has long stretches with sections that have no mandatory speed limits. This lack of limits is rooted in history and politics. And in 1952, the West German government scrapped the general speed limits. They wanted to distinguish their liberal society from the communist East, arguing that a free citizen should have the freedom to drive as fast as they choose. But that political freedom demands extreme personal responsibility. At over 100 miles per hour, your stalled vehicle becomes an unpredictable, immediate danger. A slight change in direction can be catastrophic for other drivers. Running out of fuel is deemed a catastrophic failure of personal responsibility. You aren't being punished for having an empty tank. You are being punished for creating an unforgivable danger that risks the lives of other drivers on the road. At extreme speeds, there is absolutely zero margin for error or poor planning. It's a foundational lesson in German accountability. Number 4, radio Canadianism requirement. The Canadians are a deeply patriotic bunch, but they also sit right next to the world's most massive cultural engine, the United States. To prevent their national identity from being completely swallowed, they created a law that legislates national pride. The Canadian content requirements for popular music mandates that all Canadian radio stations must play music by Canadian artists at least 35% of the time, especially during prime listening hours. This isn't just about boosting the careers of artists like Celine Dion or Justin Bieber, it's a national cultural defense. The law is designed to give Canadian talent an essential, guaranteed platform against the overwhelming dominance of American music and pop culture. It ensures that local artists can find an audience and that the unique Canadian voice isn't completely drowned out. The law is a cultural firewall, a beautiful commitment to preserving and promoting a national identity that might otherwise fade into the noise of its gigantic neighbor. Number three, Italy's dog walking law. In Italy, there's a beautifully simple law that puts the emotional and physical needs of your pet first. In 2005, the city of Turin and later Rome passed ordinances requiring dog owners to walk their pets at least once a day or face fines of up to 500 euros. Turin actually set the requirement at a minimum of 3 walks a day. This is a pure and powerful animal welfare law. The fine isn't just a slap on the wrist. It's the government stating clearly that a cage or a fenced yard is not an acceptable life for a sentient social being. You owe your dog mental and physical stimulation outside the walls of your home. Enforcement is often based on neighbor reports, making it a collective community standard, not just a police issue. It is a stunning example of a government codifying a moral imperative, protecting the human animal bond, and reminding owners that their dog's well being is not optional. Number two, Hawaii's Billboard Ban. If you've ever driven through Hawaii, you might have noticed there aren't gigantic billboards. That's because Hawaii has outlawed billboards statewide since 1927 under its Urban Beautification Initiative. The reason is not just aesthetic, it is fundamentally economic. Hawaii's tourism industry, which estimates over 10 million visitors a year, relies entirely on its pristine, uninterrupted natural views. State reports confirm that the visual environment is their single most important asset. A cluttered, polluted landscape would instantly devalue the entire Hawaiian experience. This ban is a core piece of their financial strategy. It's a law that preserves the natural beauty that tourists pay thousands of dollars to see, cuts down on roadside litter by an estimated 30%, and protects the scenic highways that are the visual soul of the islands. It's an act of environmental and aesthetic protection that ensures the long-term viability of their economy. Number one, wildflowers protection laws in Colorado. In Colorado, picking a handful of wildflowers along the state roads can land you a fine of up to $100. For a nature lover, this can seem like a ridiculous rule. Why punish someone for appreciating natural beauty? This law is actually an act of biodiversity conservation. Removing the flowers disrupts the pollination cycle, which studies show affects over 35% of Colorado's native species. Those highway medians and roadsides are often the only remaining habitats for rare or threatened plants, and those wildflowers are an essential part of the state's infrastructure. They prevent erosion on thousands of miles of roads. When you pull the flowers, you destabilize the soil, making the entire road network less secure. The fine isn't punishing a love of nature, it is protecting an entire ecosystem that physically stops the highways from washing away. It's a small law with massive ecological and civil engineering implications. Thanks for watching.
Like and subscribe to see more.